Off. Thank you, Alex, wherever you may be. Where is Alex? Is here someplace? Alex, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alex. And the CEO of Chart Energy and Chemicals, Jillian Ivanko. Thank you very much. Thank you both. Thank you, Jillian. Thank you very much. That's a big deal, Alex, right? Can you handle it? I think so, right? It's great. To further strengthen our economic ties, the United States is pleased to announce that the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation will be establishing a permanent presence right here. America is especially committed to working with India to improve development and empower women entrepreneurs. That is why my daughter Ivanka attended the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad to highlight women's economic empowerment. Ivanka, please, great job you've done. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have since launched the WGDP initiative, which is now spearheading projects supporting women in the economy from New Delhi to Kolkata. In our meetings with the Prime Minister, we discussed and agreed to create a counter-narcotics working group to confront the growing threat of illicit fentanyl and opioid production. We must rid our societies of these lethal, horrible poisons. We will rid our societies of these bad drugs that are pouring in. Prime Minister Modi, we have made tremendous advances for our people over the past 2 days, and working together, I know that our two nations will continue to achieve new breakthroughs, unlock new potential, and forge even brighter futures in the years ahead. We think we're at a point where our relationship is so special with India. It has never been as good as it is right now, and I think that's because the two leaders of each country, really, we feel very strongly about each other, and we have done something that's very unique, and we've made some wonderful deals for each of our countries. Once again, we want to thank you and the entire nation of India for honoring the United States with its outstanding welcome. And I'm pleased to say that the U.S.-Indian partnership is now truly stronger than ever before. This was a great visit with a tremendous friend and a tremendous leader, Prime Minister Modi. We won't be taking questions now. I'll be having a news conference at 5 o'clock. And we'll take plenty of questions. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. This concludes the press event. Thank you all for joining.
So 3 MOUs have been announced ahead of the joint press statement. One is on mental health, the second being on safety of medical products in the food and drugs domain, and the third being one in terms of energy cooperation, a letter of cooperation between IOC and ExxonMobil. And a big announcement has been made. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced that India and the United States have decided to upgrade their relationship to a comprehensive global strategic partnership, which means that this strategic partnership is now going to have even more heft. Besides that, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about how not just bilateral trade has grown between India and the United States by leaps and bounds, but how that trade has become more balanced with elements like energy, defense, higher education, as well as civil aircraft. Later, Donald Trump also spoke about how exports from the United States to India have gone up by leaps and bounds, especially since he became the President of the United States of America. A new mechanism has been announced on drug trafficking, narco-terrorism, as well as on organized crime. And a mention was made by U.S. President Donald Trump of terrorism emanating from Pakistan and the need to put a check on that. Besides that, Donald Trump mentioned that the first quadrilateral ministerial meeting had taken place. There was a mention of Blue Dot Network as well by U.S. President Donald Trump, and the need to have sustainable financing was something that Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about. So this particular initiative also was discussed. Also, Indo-Pacific was one issue that was discussed in the context of the first Quad ministerial meeting that Donald Trump spoke about. So a huge array of issues were discussed during this meeting, and very importantly, considering the issue of movement of professionals from India to the United States. It has also been requested by Prime Minister Narendra Modi that talks should move forward on a totalization agreement for social security. In the context of bilateral trade, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the commerce ministers of India and the United States have already met, and we've agreed to have an understanding that moves on to a legal route. He said that we've agreed to start talks on a major trade deal that is mutually beneficial. So those are the highlights of the press statements. And later we heard the US President Donald Trump say that he'll be addressing a joint press conference. In fact, a press conference. He'll be addressing a press conference at around 5 this evening.
Indeed, and Munmun, if I can just talk about what President Trump said in his intervention there in the joint press statement alongside Prime Minister Modi. President Trump spoke about a $3 billion defense deal with India. That's point number one. He spoke about how the US wants Pakistan to confront terrorism operating from its soil. He spoke about how the Quad, comprising India, US, Japan and Australia, had been revived in the Indo-Pacific region. He spoke about 5G, saying that it should not become a conduit for suppression, and said that India, Japan and the US are collaborating on the Blue Dot initiative as a counter to China's Belt and Road initiative. All right, we have three very special guests in the studio to walk us through the main takeaways from the joint press statements by President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. If I can start from my extreme left, Ambassador Manjeev Puri, who is just demitted office as India's ambassador to Nepal. We have Ambassador Bhaskar Balakrishnan and Professor Sriram Cholia, who will talk to us about the outcomes of the India-US talks that just concluded in New Delhi. If I can start with you, Ambassador Puri, your sense of the big takeaways from that joint press statement that we just heard from President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. In your estimation, what are the highlights of those two statements there?
Thank you. I think there are a number of highlights, but let me underscore what to me is the critical aspect, which is the upgrading of the status of the bilateral relationship. Look, let's clearly understand that the two prime ministers having met so many times, and these two bilateral interactions taking place literally back to back in the last few months, and that too in this large scale, has underscored, in my opinion, one central point, that India has started counting as far as the United States calculus is concerned. Therefore, as we are upgraded to a much higher level of a bilateral relationship, all other elements will fall in place. I'll leave it at that. I'm sure the others would contribute.
Sure.
But obviously, security relationships are extremely important, and geopolitics also plays its role in it.
Indeed. Ambassador Balakrishnan, would you want to weigh in on your take on the joint press statements?
Yes, I think there has been a problem with the trade imbalance with the US. That has slowly moved towards a more balanced position over the years, as US has become a major energy exporter, and that is an area where India needs oil and gas.
Right.
So that is automatically helping to balance the trade. At the same time, we are diversifying away from dependence on Russia and moving towards more military purchases from the US. The US defense, the helicopters were mentioned, Apache helicopters and Seahawk helicopters. So those are very urgently needed for our Navy, 36 helicopters. So that is again an area of defense purchases. And Prime Minister mentioned that the companies on both sides, their value chains are getting intermeshed. Of course, the US has to do some work. They have a very nightmarish complex of export controls in dual use products. So they have to do their homework in simplifying the export control systems and making it easier for people to import their defense related products. But overall, I think the progress has been good. And I think in the future also we can expect defense and energy related purchases from India to grow. And then of course that would help to balance the trade and relieve some of the pressure coming from the US towards balanced trade in goods. On the services side, if you take higher education services into account, that trade is balanced. And the US higher education system offers a very, very great advantages for our Indian higher educational institutions who are seeking to move up the ladder of global excellence. So if they seize the opportunity of working constructively with the US higher education sector, I think we can have a win-win situation there.
Okay, your thoughts on the biggest takeaways? Sriram
Munmun, definitely comprehensive global strategic partnership means a lot. In fact, except Japan, no country has ever been designated that way by India. So this means that there is an expectation, especially on, I think, more on our side, that the Americans will help us to create a balance of power in Asia. And PM emphasized one point, it's worth noting, which is about the military exercise, and he said the interoperability of the two militaries is unprecedented. That's the word, the English word he used, Prime Minister Modi. And President Trump also mentioned our two militaries are operating more and more side by side. That's what he said. And what caught my attention was, the Trump's mention of the revitalization of the Quad, which involves India, Japan, US and Australia, and free and open Indo-Pacific. And Prime Minister mentioned global commons. This is basically a reference to the open seas, the high seas, which are not under the control of any single country or part of any maritime domain of any individual country. That is where the contest is, for geopolitical balance in the 21st century, and where we expect some support, because we on our own cannot reduce the imprint of the Chinese power in this region, and we look for allies or partners. Rules-based international order. That's the other thing that caught my mind. Prime Minister was very clear about it. And here it's again a clear geopolitical construct. When we say that, we mean that there should be no blockage of the crucial waterways, of the choke points that are so significant, especially in our area, in our region, in the Indo-Pacific is the Straits of Malacca and such places where the Chinese Navy has been expanding. So I think we are very clear about our strategic goals. Frankly, we have put the ball in the US court, and we have extracted all that we wanted, in this statement, because essentially we are saying that we are holding firm on our trade points, and we are not yet ready for a final deal because the Americans are not ready. But on other issues, especially military, it's tremendous. And I also wanted to add the one on counter-terrorism. Prime Minister said we agreed to hold terrorists accountable. And that is a significant. I would hope that maybe this means that there's some kind of a new effort at legal, proceedings, for example, that could be taken up in U.S. courts or in international bodies that can further add to pressure and shaming of this rogue state to our west, and which has been promoting, terrorism left, right, and center. So there are, of course, also military and counterintelligence means by which we would like to target these terrorists. The homeland security, Munmun, that was mentioned by Prime Minister, that this is an area on which we are agreeing and we are going to sign. So I think these are areas which involve border protection, coastal, protection, maritime. So apart from the others, as pointed out by co-panelists, I think the geopolitical direction is looking clearer now, because when Trump came into power, there were lots of questions, and even now, for that matter, the Quad, he said we have revitalized. He said, ministerial sounds like a small thing, but now we have ramped it up to a different level. But with Trump, the question is, will he go beyond bilaterals? Can he build together a coalition, which we expected until Obama was there? That is a big test, So I think we are going to hold this document. The beauty of these diplomatic, products is that this is going to become part of the history and part of the working relationship with the US going forward, and we will have mechanisms and sub-mechanisms and lower level procedures to, carry the agenda forward. The vision that's been set out today needs a lot of follow-up work.
Ambassador Puri, you've served in Nepal, and Nepal, like some of India's other neighbors, have signed up to China's Belt and Road Initiative. There are concerns in New Delhi on that count. If I can quote what Prime Minister Modi said, he spoke about Indo-Pacific as a global commons, a rules-based order. He spoke about connectivity and says that India is for sustainable and transparent financing of these infrastructure projects to counter China's BRI. And President Trump himself spoke about the Blue Dot Initiative comprising India, Japan, and the US. So your thoughts on the way forward on this count, India-US cooperation, to have a more robust cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region to take on China's BRI project?
So let me first say something else, something in continuation of your previous question, and the focus remaining on bilaterals, India and the United States. Look, I think one of the great takeaways of this visit and these repeat meetings at the highest level, and let's remember, the United States is a presidential form of government. The president really counts for a lot of things. We, I think, are building bridges to be able to do two things. One, in the United States, which is a hegemonic power and which acts domestically, including internationally, we are trying to build some space to be able to get some leeway, some concessions, some buyouts for India. That's extremely important for us, the way we are. Secondly, there are a lot of concerns that we have which involve movement of people, movements of things. So if I may use an expression, which perhaps has not been used in too many places, India versus Indians. These kind of relationships allow you to move forward on those kind of issues which are germane to yourself, India's growth story, India's development story. Now let me come to you on our neighborhood. Look, the entire neighborhood is looking at this visit. They have always looked at these visits. If I may just point out, every single Pakistani newspaper headlined a small thing which was actually mentioned in the different context that they are a problem and that we need to get them in. Others may think of it differently.
Your Excellency, Mr. Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Before I begin with the press event, I would like to announce the 3 documents which were concluded during the visit. First was an MOU on mental health between the Department of Health and Family Welfare of the Government of the Republic of India and the Department of Health and Human Services of the Government of the United States of America. Second was an MOU on the safety of medical products between the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization within the Directorate General of Health Services of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare of the Republic of India and the Food and Drug Administration of the Department of Health and Human Services of the United States of America. And finally, a letter of cooperation between Indian Oil Corporation Limited and ExxonMobil India LNG Limited and Chart Industries Incorporation. I now begin the proceedings for the press event. To begin, may I request the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, to deliver his statement to the press.
मेरे मित्र और अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति डोनाल्ड ट्रंप, अमेरिकी डेलीगेशन के सम्मानित सदस्यगण, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, नमस्ते। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और उनके डेलीगेशन का भारत में एक बार फिर हार्दिक स्वागत है। मुझे विशेष खुशी है कि इस यात्रा पर वो अपने परिवार के साथ आए हैं। पिछले 8 महीनों में राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और मेरे बीच ये 5वीं मुलाकात है। कल मोटेरा में राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप का अनप्रेसिडेंटेड और हिस्टोरिकल वेलकम हमेशा याद रखा जाएगा। कल ये फिर से स्पष्ट हुआ कि अमेरिका और भारत के संबंध सिर्फ 2 सरकारों के बीच नहीं है, बल्कि पीपल ड्रिवन है, पीपल सेंट्रिक है। यह संबंध 21वीं सदी की सबसे महत्वपूर्ण पार्टनरशिप में है और इसलिए आज राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और मैंने हमारे संबंधों को कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव ग्लोबल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के स्तर पर ले जाने का निर्णय लिया है। संबंधों को इस मुकाम तक लाने में राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप का अमूल्य योगदान रहा है। फ्रेंड्स, आज हमारी चर्चा में हमने इस पार्टनरशिप के हर अहम पहलू पर सकारात्मक विचार किया, चाहे वो डिफेंस एंड सिक्योरिटी हो, एनर्जी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप हो, टेक्नोलॉजी कोऑपरेशन हो, ग्लोबल कनेक्टिविटी हो, ट्रेड रिलेशंस हो या फिर पीपल टू पीपल टाइज। भारत और अमेरिका के बीच बढ़ता रक्षा और सुरक्षा सहयोग हमारी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का एक बहुत अहम हिस्सा है। अत्याधुनिक रक्षा उपकरण व प्लेटफॉर्म पर सहयोग से भारत की डिफेंस क्षमता में बढ़ोतरी हुई है। हमारे डिफेंस मैन्युफैक्चरर्स एक दूसरे की सप्लाई चेन्स का हिस्सा बन रहे हैं। भारतीय फोर्सेस आज सबसे अधिक ट्रेनिंग एक्सरसाइजेज यूएसए के फोर्सेस के साथ कर रही है। पिछले कुछ सालों में हमारी सेनाओं के बीच इंटर ऑपरेबिलिटी में अनप्रेसिडेंटेड वृद्धि हुई है। फ्रेंड्स, इसी तरह हम अपने होमलैंड्स की सुरक्षा और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अपराध से लड़ने के लिए भी सहयोग बढ़ा रहे हैं। आज होमलैंड सिक्योरिटी पर हुए निर्णय से इस सहयोग को और बल मिलेगा। आतंक के समर्थकों को जिम्मेदार ठहराने के लिए आज हमने अपने प्रयासों को और बढ़ाने का निश्चय किया है। प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप ने ड्रग्स और ओपियोइड क्राइसिस से लड़ाई को प्राथमिकता दी है। आज हमारे बीच ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग, नार्को टेररिज्म और ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम जैसी गंभीर समस्याओं के बारे में एक नए मैकेनिज्म पर भी सहमति हुई है। फ्रेंड्स, कुछ ही समय पहले स्थापित हमारी स्ट्रैटेजिक एनर्जी पार्टनरशिप सुदृढ़ होती जा रही है और इस क्षेत्र में आपसी निवेश बढ़ा है। तेल और गैस के लिए अमेरिका भारत का एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण स्रोत बन गया है। पिछले 4 वर्षों में हमारा कुल एनर्जी व्यापार करीब $20 बिलियन रहा है। रिन्यूएबल हो या न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी, हमारे कोऑपरेशन को नई ऊर्जा मिल रही है। फ्रेंड्स, इसी तरह इंडस्ट्री 4.0 और 21st सेंचुरी की अन्य उभरती टेक्नोलॉजीज, उस पर भी इंडिया यूएस पार्टनरशिप इनोवेशन और एंटरप्राइज के नए मुकाम स्थापित कर रही है। भारतीय प्रोफेशनल्स के टैलेंट ने अमेरिकी कंपनीज की टेक्नोलॉजी लीडरशिप को मजबूत किया है। फ्रेंड्स, भारत और अमेरिका आर्थिक क्षेत्र में ओपननेस और फेयर एंड बैलेंस ट्रेड के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। पिछले 3 वर्षों में हमारे द्विपक्षीय व्यापार में डबल डिजिट ग्रोथ हुई है और वह ज्यादा संतुलित भी हुआ है। अगर एनर्जी, सिविल एयरक्राफ्ट्स, डिफेंस और हायर एजुकेशन ले तो पिछले 4-5 सालों में सिर्फ इन 4 सेक्टर्स ने ही भारत अमेरिका के आर्थिक संबंधों में लगभग $70 बिलियन का योगदान किया है। इसमें से काफी कुछ राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप की नीतियों और फैसलों के कारण संभव हुआ है। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आने वाले समय में यह आंकड़ा काफी बढ़ जाएगा। जहां तक बायलैटरल ट्रेड का सवाल है, हमारे कॉमर्स मिनिस्टर्स के बीच सकारात्मक वार्ताएं हुई हैं। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और मैं आज सहमत हुए हैं कि हमारे कॉमर्स मिनिस्टर के बीच जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग बनी है उसे हमारी टीम्स लीगल रूप दें। हम एक बड़ी ट्रेड डील के लिए नेगोशिएशन शुरू करने पर भी सहमत हुए हैं। हमें आशा है कि आपसी हित में इसके अच्छे परिणाम निकलेंगे। फ्रेंड्स, वैश्विक स्तर पर भारत और अमेरिका का सहयोग हमारे समान लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों और उद्देश्यों पर आधारित है। खासकर इंडो पैसिफिक और ग्लोबल कॉमन्स में रूल बेस्ड इंटरनेशनल ऑर्डर के लिए यह सहयोग विशेष महत्व रखता है। हम दोनों देश विश्व में कनेक्टिविटी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के विकास में सस्टेनेबल एंड ट्रांसपेरेंट फाइनेंसिंग के महत्व पर सहमत है। हमारा यह आपसी तालमेल एक दूसरे के ही नहीं बल्कि विश्व के हित में है। फ्रेंड्स, भारत और अमेरिका की स्पेशल मित्रता की सबसे महत्वपूर्ण नींव हमारे पीपल टू पीपल रिलेशंस हैं, चाहे वो प्रोफेशनल्स हो या स्टूडेंट्स। यूएसए में इंडियन डायस्पोरा का इसमें सबसे बड़ा योगदान रहा है। भारत के ये एम्बेसडर्स ना सिर्फ अपने टैलेंट और परिश्रम से यूएसए की अर्थव्यवस्था में कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं, बल्कि अपने डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज और समृद्ध कल्चर से अमेरिकन सोसाइटी को भी एनरिच कर रहे हैं। मैंने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप से अनुरोध किया है कि हमारे प्रोफेशनल्स के सोशल सिक्योरिटी कंट्रीब्यूशन पर टोटलाइजेशन एग्रीमेंट को दोनों पक्ष चर्चा आगे बढ़ाएं। यह आपसी हित में होगा। फ्रेंड्स, इन सभी आयामों में हमारे रिश्तों को और मजबूत बनाने में राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप की यह यात्रा ने ऐतिहासिक भूमिका निभाई है। एक बार फिर मैं प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप को भारत आने के लिए और भारत अमेरिका संबंधों को नई ऊंचाई पर पहुंचाने के लिए हार्दिक धन्यवाद देता हूं। थैंक यू।
Well, thank you very much. And Prime Minister Modi, this has been a very special visit, unforgettable, extraordinary. What can you say? Very, very wonderful to be with you. Thank you very much. And Melania and I have been awed by the majesty of India and the exceptional kindness and generosity of the Indian people. We'll always remember the magnificent welcome the citizens of your home state showed us upon arrival. It was a profound expression of strength and of real love. Really, it was love. And I think everybody saw that, everybody witnessed that for themselves. The First Lady and I also reflected on the memory of Mahatma Gandhi at his ashram, and this morning in Delhi, we laid a wreath in his honor. We visited one of your nation's most stunning cultural treasures, the world-famous Taj Mahal, and we look forward to continuing our visit tonight during a wonderful state banquet with President Kovind at the Presidential Palace. I know Prime Minister Modi will agree that this has been a very productive visit for both of our countries. Earlier today, we expanded our defense cooperation with agreements for India to purchase more than $3 billion of advanced American military equipment, including Apache and MH-60 Romeo helicopters, the finest in the world. These deals will enhance our joint defense capabilities as our militaries continue to train and operate side by side. In our discussions, Prime Minister Modi and I affirmed our two countries' commitment to protecting our citizens from radical Islamic terrorism. In this effort, the United States is also working productively with Pakistan to confront terrorists who operate on its soil. Together, the Prime Minister and I are revitalizing the Quad initiative with the United States, India, Australia, and Japan. Since I took office, we have held the first Quad ministerial meeting. I guess you would call it a meeting, but it seems like so much more than that, an expanded cooperation on counterterrorism, cybersecurity, and maritime security to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific. As we deepen our partnership with India, we remember that our two countries have always been united by shared traditions of democracy and constitutions that protect freedom, individual rights, and the rule of law. During our visit, we discussed the importance of a secure 5G wireless network and the need for this emerging technology to be a tool for freedom, progress, prosperity, not to do anything where it could be even conceived as a conduit for suppression and censorship. To guarantee that the infrastructure of the future is built in a safe, transparent, and accountable manner, the United States is working with a range of partners, including Australia and Japan, to create the Blue Dot Network, a major initiative to ensure countries around the world to have access to private sector-led, sustainable, and trustworthy options for high-quality infrastructure development, and that's what's happening. Another major focus of my discussions with Prime Minister Modi is forging bilateral economic relationships that is fair and reciprocal. Our teams have made tremendous progress on a comprehensive trade agreement, and I'm optimistic we can reach it.
ये है एक्सपर्ट ऑप्शन, वर्ल्ड का बेस्ट ऑनलाइन ट्रेडिंग।
Greetings from Ahmedabad, the World Heritage City that is both ancient and modern and is synonymous with the Apostle of Peace and Non-Violence, Mahatma Gandhi. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Cricket Stadium, popularly known as the Motera Stadium, in its new avatar, stands in readiness for this historic event. The Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, will greet his friend, President Trump, on behalf of the people of India. And the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump, will make his address here. The stadium, with a capacity of 110,000 people, is bursting at the seams, and there is so much excitement here. The stadium is reverberating with loud cheers in anticipation of Namaste Trump.
Namaste, Jasleen.
Howdy, Amit.
After a very successful Howdy Modi event in Houston, Texas in September of 2019, we are all here now in Ahmedabad to say Namaste Trump. India is all set to accord a grand welcome to the Honorable President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, along with the First Lady, Melania Trump, and other distinguished guests. Excitement clearly palpable here at the new Motera Stadium as India meets America.
The grand welcome that has been planned for him is far grander than any welcome that has ever been given to an American president. President Trump has expressed a great sense of excitement about his India visit, and he will certainly be impressed by the reception he receives. Lakhs of people have lined up all along the route from the airport to Motera Stadium. The roadshow is woven around the theme of unity in diversity, and it showcases India as a nation whose strength lies in its diversity.
That's the Sabarmati Ashram, where the distinguished guests will be going en route before they come to the new Motera Stadium. And what a significant place this is, as Mahatma Gandhi ji spent about 13 years here, and also the Dandi March was launched from Sabarmati Ashram, this very place.
Gandhiji's presence is still palpable at Sabarmati, and the excitement here at Motera is beyond palpable, isn't it?
Absolutely. So this is the world's largest cricket stadium with a capacity of over 110,000 spectators.
Well, considering that right now the spectators are on the pitch, that would add to a few thousands more than 110,000.
Yes. They're wearing the white colored caps that reads Namaste Trump. In terms of the sequence of events, in a short while from now, the Honorable President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, will arrive at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport by his special flight, Air Force One. This is where the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi will receive him, and what will follow thereafter will be a grand reception at the airport.
Cricket is the greatest festival for the people of India, and today the excitement here is exactly like that of a cricket match that India is winning, isn't it?
And while the Motera Stadium was established in '82, and over the decades that ensued, Jasleen, many records have also been made, including the fact that the World Cup 2011 match, the important quarterfinal, India versus Australia, was played at the Motera Stadium. And then in 2015, reconstruction happened.
The Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport, where the President of the United States will arrive with the First Lady on Air Force One. This will be his maiden visit to India, and he will arrive here at Ahmedabad to a rocking rally, Namaste Trump, and Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and all of India is waiting to welcome him. As the hoardings say, to dynamic personalities, one momentous occasion.
The flags of the two nations, world's oldest democracy, America, and world's largest democracy, India.
President Trump will be given a traditional welcome at the airport, and we could see some of the artists there. All along the route, which is roughly 22 kilometers long, we can see hoardings of the two leaders, and also the theme of Mahatma Gandhi through hoardings and displays can be seen all across the route. Mahatma Gandhi is the essence of India, and this was his home. And this is where the president will receive the biggest ever welcome. And these are people from all walks of life who have come from all the 33 districts of Gujarat. Most of them are youngsters. We can see some with masks of Prime Minister Modi. And just a short while ago, we could hear loud cheers of Modi going on in the stadium.
It's a beautiful stadium that has been reconstructed. The first layer is of the orange seat, and the upper layer is of the seats having orange, blue color and yellow. But right now you can't see the color because almost every single seat here in the new Motera Stadium is occupied.
So when the Howdy Modi rally happened in Houston, in Texas, it was at a venue for a rock concert, and over 50,000 Indian Americans had attended. And here at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Cricket Stadium, there are more than 110,000 people. So double the number of people, excitement probably also double.
Well, they are waving their hands in anticipation of the two global leaders arriving here at the stadium in a short while from now. They're carrying the tricolour. They have a vision in the eyes. And they've been treated to some music, arts and culture. And as they say, Jasleen, arts, culture, sports, cinema, all of this is soft power of a nation. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, for sure, encourages people of India and worldwide to experience the phenomena called India, given the fact that the essence of this great nation lies in its unity in diversity.
Yes, that's right. And Indo-US relations have had their highs and their lows. But over the last several years, there has been a steady growth in the relationship between the two countries. The visit of President Trump will strengthen this Indo-US strategic partnership. The visit also endeavors to highlight the strong and enduring bonds between the American and the Indian people. The personal friendship that President Trump and Prime Minister Modi share opens new potentialities for India-US ties.
Well, the visit by an American president is always significant in bilateral context, regional context, and international context. And for those who love history, it was in 1959 that Dwight Eisenhower was the first US president to visit India. In 1969, 10 years thereafter, Richard Nixon visited India. 1978, President Jimmy Carter visited India. And interestingly, a village in Haryana, very close to Delhi, is called Carterpuri, where the then US President Jimmy Carter had gone.
That is really an interesting bit of history, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then
but
there was
have you noticed that, there were fewer presidents who visited India in the early years, but in the last few years, there has been an increased number of visits from American presidents to India.
Absolutely. After 22 years of President Jimmy Carter visiting India in 78, it was in 2000 that Bill Clinton visited India. 2006, President George W. Bush and President Barack Obama visited India twice, 2010 and 2015. In fact, he's the only president who was the chief guest at the Republic Day ceremony.
And this is a picture of those two cutouts of the two leaders of the two most populous democracies of the world who form a natural synergy. It symbolizes what the future holds for both our countries.
Well, that's the Air Force One, the special flight carrying the American President, Donald Trump, and other distinguished guests as it lands at Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport. And what a moment this is. First visit to India by US President Donald Trump.